الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين وعلى آله وصحبه وأزواجه أجمعين أما بعد. This is Jalal Abualrub, Jalalabualrub. Jalal Abualrub. I'm a Palestinian from the city of Jenin, the West Bank, and Allah blessed me to produce more than 70 books so far, between translations and authoring, helped by my family. My wife is the editor of all my books and most of my articles. The combination between me and her, I'm an Arab, grew up in Kuwait, lived 2/3 of my life in the West, and she's a Westerner. She grew up in the West. She became Muslim on her own, and she is the best help I ever had. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, may Allah reward her. So we have the combination of the two cultures coming together. We believe in Islam. We believe in the Quran. We believe in the Sunnah. Yasir Qadhi throws things about the religion like he does waswasa, waswas, doubts, no examples. Always no examples. Then he sits back, khannas, waiting for it to simmer here in the hearts of those who are listening to him. There are holes in the documentation of the Quran, he says that, and then the evangelicals who I have debated for more than 2 decades, they say a famous Muslim scholar says the Quran was corrupted. This is how he helps the kuffar against Islam. Also he says, and he's helping the cause of the Shia this way, and the Sufis who worship dead people, that invoking dead people is not shirk, polytheism. Well, it ain't tawheed, monotheism, and it's a bid'ah, just an innovation. You see, it is shirk. Even if you hate it, you are ignorant in Islam, you're a jahil. Also, why would anyone invoke a dead person? See, that person, they're dead. They can't help you. They couldn't help themselves before they departed this earthly life by staying in this earthly life. They died, and you go invoke them for what? Among the things that we spoke about, and the 2 videos before this one talk about this topic, Ya'juj and Ma'juj, Gog and Magog. They are mentioned in the Old Testament and the New Testament. The story in the Old Testament has the flavoring of the Jews. Lies here, lies there. So if you study what the Jews wrote, and they wrote the Old Testament with their own hands, it's not a revelation from Allah, from God. If you read what they wrote there, you will end up with maximum confusion, because they lie. Anything they touch, they lie. They disrupt, they distort, they change, they corrupt. The Quran came to set the record straight. The Quran and the Sunnah explain the story of Ya'juj and Ma'juj. Yasir Qadhi is helping the cause of the enemies of Islam again by mentioning this topic. So he sits and talks and says all kinds of things about Ya'juj and Ma'juj and about tafsir. I translated a half of Tafsir ibn Kathir, the most famous tafsir among Muslims today, which is based on Tafsir al-Tabari. Al-Tabari was called the Shaykh, the teacher of the scholars of tafsir. Translated a half of it for Dar es Salaam. My wife edited that half. So, and I taught that book for years and years before I thought it's time for me to translate it. So we know about tafsir, what they're saying. Tafsir, for the most part, by the scholars who follow the Sunnah, like Ibn Kathir and al-Tabari before him, is mostly beautiful. It's beautiful. Some aspects they borrowed from the children of Israel, the Israelite stories. Some of them were clearly wrong. Some of the issues about, for example, Ya'juj and Ma'juj, they mention all kinds of tafsir for who are they Are they alive today? Where are they today? And they threw things like China, for example. Yasir Qadhi, he's a liar, a kadhab, and a jahil. So he confuses what the Quran says with what the scholars of tafsir said. Tafsir. فسر يفسر تفسيرا, to interpret, to explain. As a definition, tafsir, like tafsir ibn Kathir, is the human effort of Ibn Kathir. It's not the Quran. You can't take and confuse people who are for some reason listening to your ignorance and attacking the foundations of Islam, and they're sitting there like nothing is happening. This is the effort of Ibn Kathir. He's a human being. He made mistakes in the tafsir. I studied and taught tafsir Ibn Kathir, and for the very most part his tafsir is so beneficial, but he made mistakes. So to come and say tafsir, Quran, the story, we don't know. I went to the wall of China. I took a video next to the wall of China. Here is the wall of China. I can't find Ya'juj and Ma'juj. You're not smart. You are not giving the enemies of Islam a smart argument, because I would ask you, and I would ask Ibn Kathir also, if I met him, and he's a major scholar of Islam, may Allah reward him for the help and benefit he gave to Islam and Muslims. Is there an ayah in the Quran that says that the Ya'juj and Ma'juj are the Chinese, and that the wall that Dhul Qarnayn built is the Great Wall of China? Is there any? No, there isn't. So that's the Quran, and that's the tafsir. To make them one and the same in this case is because somebody is being a hypocrite, a munafiq. You can quote me on that. Yasir Qadhi is a munafiq. To confuse people. But the Quran didn't say anything about the Chinese or any other group. And what the Quran says is very clear. Inshallah, we'll talk about it, inshallah, soon. And the Sunnah is very clear about Ya'juj and Ma'juj, about their story. There is nothing there that says they are the Chinese. We don't have an ayah in the Quran telling us that today Ya'juj and Ma'juj are in this area or that area. Nothing in the Sunnah either. So, what the scholars of tafsir said has no bearing on the Quran about this topic, because it's a matter of al-ghayb. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is described in the Quran as alimul ghaybi wa shahada. Alimul ghaybi, the all-knower of al-ghayb, the unseen, wa shahada, and the seen. Shahada, to see, to witness, to measure. So the shahada, we have all this universe Allah created, and based on this magnificent creation, we appreciate the might, the power, the ability, the glory of the creator of everything. Look at magnificent creation. It tells about the magnificence of the creator. This creator has told us in the Quran, and before that in the past, that we're not corrupted in the Old Testament and New Testament, in the Quran and the Sunnah, of course. He said subhanahu wa ta'ala about many aspects of al-ghayb. For example, he said things about Ya'juj and Ma'juj. Knowing the shahada, what we can witness, measure and see, Allah says, based on that, you have to believe in something even greater, that is al-ghayb. This meaning is found in the three words, عالم الغيب والشهادة. These meanings I just gave you, that they're telling us these three words, that there is a shahada. Do you see it? You admit? Yes. And there is al-ghayb. And al-ghayb is al-ghayb because you can't see it. You have to believe in both. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran praised the believers by saying that الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. They believe in al-ghayb. And therefore, believing in al-ghayb is believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you don't believe in al-ghayb, you do not believe. Period. We spoke about this and we mentioned the greatest aspects of al-ghayb. Number one, Allah's throne, the throne of Allah. The throne of Allah. The throne of God. It's mentioned in the Old Testament, the New Testament, the Quran and Sunnah. It's the greatest creation, bigger than anything we can see in the Shahada. See? Al-Ghayb is greater. And that is the throne of Allah. Now, Yasir Qadhi throwing things. There are holes in the documentation of the Quran. Before that, he used to say anyone who says that is a kafir, non-Muslim. Invoke dead people. They're dead. Can't invoke them. They can't help me. And he's throwing things like, Ya'juj and Ma'juj, China, and other things. See, you believe in a shahada, then this has to lead you to believing in al-ghayb. And when he says these things and the enemies of Islam are using them against Islam, he does his job, but it's not a very smart job. It's not a smart job at all, because the enemies of Islam are not getting help from Yasir Qadhi. He's a lousy helper of the kuffar, because he doesn't bring examples. Even Orientalists bring examples so that we know what to respond about, what to come and say, that thing in Quran, that and this and that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala means for sure, certainly told us about al-ghayb. So I spoke about the biggest aspect of al-ghayb, which is the throne of Allah. Also, we mentioned the number of Muslims and non-Muslims who are alive today, between 7 to 8 million people. As compared to Ya'juj and Ma'juj, it's a much smaller number, Ya'juj and Ma'juj. It's just a couple of tribes. We have 8 billion people walking around and talking and doing things. They have souls. But those kuffar, as Yasir Qadhi says, they scanned the earth, or somebody else said it and he reported it, whatever. They scanned the earth, didn't find Ya'juj and Ma'juj. Did they scan you for a soul? So they can say, hey, after all, Yasir Qadhi has or doesn't have a soul. We're not sure yet. Did they scan for the devils, for the angels? Why are you picking on this and leaving the biggest aspects of al-ghayb? The throne of Allah, the angels, the devils, and your soul, if you have one. Yasir Qadhi. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. So, among those who picked up on this refutation of the Quran based on what the Mufassirin say that Yasir Qadhi is doing, and he's not smart, because the Quran, what the ayat in the Quran say about Ya'juj and Ma'juj, and what the ahadith in the Sunnah say about Ya'juj and Ma'juj, they're still there before the scholars of tafsir. They're still sitting there now. They are available for anyone who wants to use his brain and read. The Mufassirin came later, but the ayat are there, so you can always refer to the Quran and Sunnah to find out the limits of what we can understand about Ya'juj and Ma'juj. So he's throwing these things, Ya'juj and Ma'juj, they scanned, they couldn't find them. Why they didn't scan you to find if you have a soul? Some people are using this to attack the religion. Among them, a character called Hassan Radwan. He wrote, "My journey from Islam to agnosticism. Why do these people keep using long words? I have asthma. Can we use smaller words? My journey from Islam to agnosticism. Agnosticism. Okay, I don't have my inhaler here. Anyway, what's agnosticism? Britannica. Agnosticism, from Greek agnostos, unknowable. Okay? Strictly speaking, the doctrine that humans cannot know of the existence of anything beyond the phenomenon of their experience. The term has come to be equated in popular parlance with skepticism about religious questions in general, and in particular with the rejection of traditional Christian beliefs under the impact of modern scientific thought. Agnostic. Not sure. Is there a God? There is no God. Not sure. However, he made a decision here about, if I lean towards sure, I'm going to restrict the creator of everything to what I think he should do. See, he says, were you to tell me the existence of the universe leads you to believe there is a creator, I will not argue with you. But if you tell me this creator burns people forever if they don't accept your religion, then that is something I cannot believe. So you made a decision already there that there is no creator, or you're leaning towards it, and if there is a creator, he can't do these things. I can't believe in that. Here is a question. If you're leaning towards there is a creator, and there is this magnificence that you see around you, alam al-shahada, all this universe that we can see a very small part of and that we can measure, you think you can restrict him from putting people in hellfire who don't believe in him and in his prophets? You can. You think you can restrict him? You can tell him, no, you can't do that. See how just one statement here tells us about how foolish these people are. Now, were you to tell me the existence of the universe leads you to believe there is a creator, what does that mean? You mean you're leaning towards the Big Bang? There was nothing. Like absolutely nothing. Then a bang happened. Not any bang. A big bang. Not a big bang. The Big Bang. And then we have all this universe, and you have a car parked in your driveway. Out of nothing. It didn't come from anywhere. Agnostic? You're not sure. But we are sure. You see, this creator that you deny, he exists, and also, or you're not sure. But if you lean towards being sure, you tell him, you can't do this. I don't like it. Like, can you stop him from putting the disbelievers in hellfire with all the power you see around you? This is something else. You say there is no creator. Agnosticism. Use smaller words, for Allah's sake. So they cannot know of the existence of anything beyond the phenomenon of their experience. Bring a dead person with all the scans, including tell Yasir Qadhi, please, all those people who scanned for Ya'juj and Ma'juj, Gog and Magog, they couldn't find them, but they didn't scan for the throne of God, which is in the Christian books and the Jewish books. They didn't scan for the devils and the angels, which is found here in the hearts of people, that there are devils and angels. But let's scan this dead, dying man. alive, breathing, heart pumping, dead. Can they tell what happened? Is there a difference? Is there a difference between this second alive, this second dead? Like in the weight, can they see some kind of something that departed the body and left somewhere? Can they detect the soul? There is a difference between a living man and a dead man. It's the same man. Here he's walking, talking, eating, doing things. Here he can't do anything. He's dead. So there is a difference. So unknowable, you mean this is not a phenomenon of your experience? Yeah, we can't see the soul. We can't detect the soul. We don't know what the soul is essentially. In essence, the existence of it is about, except what Allah told us about it in the Quran and Sunnah. But there is clearly something different to distinguish a person who is alive and that same person that he's dead now. And you're telling me, keep that for yourself. Hassan Radwan, don't use the words of Yasir Qadhi. He's a loser. And you will be if you don't come back to Islam, because you say that your father insisted that your mother becomes a Muslim. May Allah reward them both. But it's a shame that they have a son like you. It's a shame, the effort they did. What are you talking about? Wait, what you talk about, it doesn't make sense. But Yasir Qadhi makes less sense than you do. He's confusing what humans say with what the Quran say to end up with the conclusion that zombies, he threw that word, zombies. It was a joke that somebody mentioned. You're joking about the Quran, Yasir Qadhi, zombies, and other stuff that he said, so as to go around it and say, hey, if the Westerners could not detect two tribes hidden, we'll talk about the Ajuj and Majuj later, inshallah. Wait for that. But if they couldn't detect Ya'juj and Ma'juj, then what? They don't exist. That story is, he summarized it. Hassan Radwan, Hassan Radwan, Hassan Radwan, he summarized Yasir Qadhi. This is a gift for you, Yasir Qadhi. You're helping the enemies of Islam. He summarized it. He said that after, that Yasir Qadhi is courageous, he said an odd explanation, whatever it is, that whatever. Then he said, it's a myth. What's a myth? A myth is a lie. A myth is a lie. Yasir Qadhi, why didn't you shut up and stop talking about the religion? Make something else. Really. Talk about stories of the companions, for example. Just spend the time not talking about the essence of the religion, because I'm not scared for you. I think you are a loser, really. But the people who are listening to you and they are being told that scholar, Islam, scholar, Western scholar, you're not a scholar. You're devastating their religion if they can't detect Ya'juj and Ma'juj. They cannot, will not, did not, you fix the timeline here, detect that you have a soul. Which is bigger? Some story about some people mentioned in the Quran, they don't exist today. It's a matter of the unseen. The limits of it we only get from the Quran and Sunnah. Beyond that, we don't know. Saying they are the Chinese, there is no proof. And by the way, Hassan Radwan, the 3rd edition of the Jihad book, is coming soon. I'm talking about Taliban and Qaeda and ISIS from the Quran and Sunnah perspective, and we condemn these people according to the Quran and Sunnah. You know, you don't like Al-Qaeda, suit yourself. You're not a Muslim. You're agnostic. No ism, please. No ism. I have asthma. Agnosticism. Anyway, so Hassan, Radwan, Yasir Qadhi is a loser. Don't listen to him. You want to learn about Islam for the first time, ask people who have knowledge in the religion, but you don't have knowledge in it. Yasir Qadhi, stop helping the enemies of Islam. Just shut up, talk about something else, for Allah's sake. And the people who are listening to Hassan Radwan and to Yasir Qadhi, thousands and thousands of people, these people don't have knowledge in the religion. Before you take, you're not sure, before you take a stance, don't you think that you should study this side and that side? Or you're going to be hesitant the whole time? So the third edition of the Jihad book is coming. My name is Jalal Abualrub, JALALABUALRUB. Website is islamlife.com, ISLAMLIFE.com, and you can find books for free there and other books we produced, alhamdulillah, all thanks to Allah. And please donate, help us continue our mission, our da'wah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.